because I'm going to go fairly quickly. Now, for these problems, I'll redraw it. Okay, I'm going to draw this again. So let's make a Venn diagram and we see how these come up, what's happening here. So take a look at your problem. You got a class, which is 37 students. So this is your universe. So call that the universe, 37. And we have two sets. We have 20 students that play volleyball. And we have 22 students who play basketball. Okay, so there can be some students that play both. So we can work that out. So you make two diagrams, two circles like that, and call one volleyball and one basketball. Okay, it says 25 play at least one of these sports. So that means in these circles, there are 25 students in here. Play at least one. So when you see at least one, it means no less than one. So at least one means one or more than one. In that case, it could be two. So at least one sport is one sport or more than one. So one sport would be here or here, and in the middle here would be two sports. So there are 25 people in this yellow region. So we could write that as the number A union B is 25. 25. There are 37 in the class, which means there must be 12 outside, because 37 minus 25 is 12. So 12 students don't play any of the sport. So we can put that number in here. But what you don't know is how many students play both. So you can see what I've done here. I put X in the middle. So we're going to end up with an equation here. So I put X here because this is the number that play both. So that is here, play both sports, X. Okay. And here it says the number that play volleyball is 20. Okay. So we come here, this volleyball circle should be 20, but we already wrote X in here. So this should be 20 minus X. So when you add these two things, you'll get 20, because 20 minus X plus X is 20. Okay, so just remember volleyball includes those who also play basketball. And we do the same for basketball here. So 22 play basketball, and 22 would be all of this circle. So basketball only would be 22 minus X, which is what I've got down here. Okay, I just wanted to show you again how it's working, because I didn't erase the solution. I'm not redoing the whole thing. Okay, so what we end up with is this part here. So everything's filled in. So that means you can calculate X. So I'll come down here. Let's have a look at the solution. Okay, so that's what I did here. Let the intersection is the number in here, which is X. We did that already up here. Okay, and then the number in the universe is 37. The number in volleyball is 20. So the number playing volleyball only is 20 minus X. That's here. The number in basketball is 22. So the number playing basketball only is 22 minus X, which is here. And the number in the union, as I mentioned, is 25. And that's the number of members in the union. So what I did here, I won't rewrite this, but let's take a look at our equation. So the number in the union we said is 25, which is here. So we're going to add these three things. So 20 minus x, which is here, plus x, which is here, plus 22 minus x, which is here. Okay, and that should equal 25 there. So when we simplify this equation, 2 of the x's will disappear, minus x plus x is 0. We'll have 42 minus x. And when you rearrange this equation to find x, you'll get x is 17. So that number is written in the middle here, 17, that's x. So that's the number who play both sports. And if this is 17, this number is 20 minus x. So that's 20 minus 17, which is 3 here. And this is 22 minus x. So 22 minus 17, that will give you 5 here. And that 12 is where we originally wrote down. So if you add these numbers up, you should get 37. That's one way to check, because that's the total number in the class. We'll do the first one together in the question. Okay, the other method is that using that formula I showed you before. Number in volleyball, union, basketball is the number in both separately minus the number in the intersection. And this is another way you can do it, which is a little bit quicker, but you can't always use this. So, but in this particular question, we can use it to find x here. So that was the number in volleyball, the number in basketball, minus the number in the intersection, which we don't know. And we know 25 from the question. So when you rearrange, you get 17. So you can do it that way as well if you want. Okay, so let's do this one together. So exercise 14. So can you go to that page? Now, before we start, these numbers represent numbers of customers in a restaurant, okay, at a Thai restaurant in one night. Their responses are shown in the diagram below. They were asked what kinds of meat they liked. The most popular choices were chicken, pork, or beef. Okay, so chicken, pork, or beef. Okay, so there's 3 kinds of meat, and you could like them all, you might like none. Okay, you might be vegetarian, for example. 2 customers said they liked none of the 3 types of meat. So we know that this number here can go here already. 3 people there. Okay, so maybe some of you can tell me the answers to these. How many customers chose beef only? Anyone can answer? Give me an answer quick. How many like
7.
beef? Yeah, 7. Where does 7 come from? Which part of the diagram?
B.
B only, right? Here.
Yes.
Yeah. So beef only cannot have anything else. So beef only, that would be here, this number here. I'll erase that color. So beef only is 7. What about chicken or pork, but not beef? So chicken or pork is here. Let's think about that one. So chicken or pork is here. I said nothing about beef yet. So this is chicken or pork, isn't it? Or is union. So chicken or pork, but not beef. So that means you can't include these numbers here, right? So you've got to delete these ones. So the only answer will be the sum of these numbers here. Chicken or pork, or can be both. Okay, so be aware in sets, or could be both. That's union. Okay, so chicken or pork, but not beef. So we would have 15 plus 17 plus 12. So you can add that up yourself. And you write your answer there. So do that later. What about all three kinds of beef, all three kinds of meat? This one here. Where's that number? Anyone? What is it? All three kinds of meat. Anyone else?
3.
3, thank you. 3. So that would be in here, wouldn't it? All three kinds. So you're in the intersection of all three. So I'll put that in green, but it's going to be erased anyway. But so let's just write the answer 3 here. So all three is all three. Okay, so I didn't exclude any there at all. What about exactly 2 kinds of meat? So 2 kinds of meat, and it must be exactly, that's important. Exactly 2. It can't be 1 kind, and it can't be 3 kinds, and it can't be none. It's got to be exactly 2. So that would be beef and chicken, yes. What else? So beef and chicken, what's the other 2? This is beef and chicken.
Chicken and pork.
Yeah, we could have chicken and pork,
pork.
which is 17, right? So we could have this one here. So we could have chicken and pork, or beef and pork, right? So these are the 3. This is exactly 2. Exactly 2, which means you can't have one, these ones, and you can't have all 3. So then you add those up. So that would be 1 plus 8 plus 17. Like that. What about exactly 1 kind of meat? So that's kind of the opposite, isn't it? Exactly 1 kind of meat. So that would be beef only, yes. I know it's really hard to speak when you've got to turn your mic on and off, but if you want to answer, you can answer. But I don't want to be too slow either. So we'll keep going. I'm assuming you understand. Okay, so 1 kind of meat is beef only, or it could be chicken only, which is this one here, or it could be pork only. Pork only. So then you would add those 3 numbers, and you can write that in your book. So 7 plus 12 plus 15. And add them up. Okay, you can do that while you're sitting there. And those 2 as well. And 7 for beef only. So in this section, we want to write set notation. There may be more than one way to do this. I'll just do one, and you can try the others yourself, so we can move on. So we want to write set notation for pork only. So only that. So how could I write that in set notation? I might let you think about it for a while. So the first one is pork only. How would you write that using B, C, and P, using notation? So you can see you've got pork, but not B or C. We can't have that. So that could be the intersection between pork and not B and C, B or C actually. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I haven't got the answer key handy, it's in the back, you can take a look. And there's more than one way to do it. So when you do an answer like this in your homework, I will check if your way is correct, because it's easy for me to check things like that. So you've got pork, which would be here, but then I don't want this part. So that would, to me, that would be the intersection. Let's check it. Pork intersection, not B and C. B or C, not. I'm thinking like that. So if you think you've got an answer, write it down. And now I want to check it. So what I'll do, if I think I got the answer correct, what I'll do, I'll rub it out and I check this answer here by shading. Okay, so I've got B union C. So B union C, not. So I'll color in everything that's B union C, not. Okay. B union C, not. So this is this part here. So everything that is not B union C, right? So I colored all that in. And I got P and I want the intersection. So I'll just put P in lines like that. And now I want the intersection between the two. So I can see my answer is correct. It's pork only here. So I intersect between the blue and the red is in here. So my answer would be correct. This is okay. You can try these ones are okay. You can try them yourself. P intersect, B union C not. Okay, that's one way. There's probably more than one way. So if you can find an easier way to do it than this, that would actually be preferable. But that works. So when you think you got the answer correct, then you can practice shading and check it comes up correctly. All right, so that's question one. Not very much to do here. You can just finish these yourself. So you can do these to yourself and write your answer there for those ones. Because I don't want to do this set tomorrow. I want to just move on to some other topic because we got a lot to do actually. And I'll send you a new workbook soon. But in this book, there's lots of questions to practice if you want to practice later. So I'll help you with question 2, then I'll let you do these other ones. So we know we're doing a Venn diagram. Look at how many sets you have. So we got a survey, 125 foreigners in Bangkok, and they're reading the magazine, the newspaper, The Nation and Bangkok Post. So we know we're going to have 2 sets, 2 circles. So make your Venn diagram. So you can do this with me now, and then I'll let you go on with some others here because I don't want to talk all day. I'll give you time to work after this one. So we've got The Nation, let's put N here, and Bangkok Post, let's put it here. I normally put the letter outside so it's not confusing with what I write inside. Okay, so it doesn't say, well, what it does say here is that 3 expats read neither of these papers. So we know that 3 will go outside. They're not inside the set of those who read papers. So 3 outside. So what we know now then is that 125 minus 3 will give 122. That's your union, NUB. So N union B will be 122. So in these 2 circles, there's 122 people. And we don't know how many read both. It doesn't say that. So let's call this X. So we put X in the middle because we're not given that information. Sometimes you are. All right, sometimes you are told how many read both and you have to find something else. Okay, so put X for the one you don't know. And The Nation will be 72 minus X. Okay, here. And for Bangkok Post, 97 minus X in here. And we know now that these 3 together will equal 122. Okay, so we're doing it the long way because the long way is the best way at this time to learn. And then we can use the formula to check there. So this here is equal to this number, the union, because remember 3 don't read even newspaper. So then you write your equation. So you can write this down now, 72 minus x plus 97 minus x equals 122. If you make it 125, you need to put the 3 in here into your equation. But I took the 3 out already. So this is your equation. Can you calculate x and tell me in a minute? So find x. It's in the answer key too. So take a look there. So you find x for me, and then you can answer these ones here. I guess I should open up my answer key to check, because it's way in the back. All right, you do that for a minute, and I'll dig up my answer key in the back of my file. So do that now. Better to do some yourself, because these are the basic kind of question you're going to see again, I think. But in Chen's class next year, not so much. She doesn't cover this topic again, I don't think. Okay, I've got my answer key open, so how about x, anyone? What does x equal? Because your next worksheet is going to have some of these, I think, and maybe some review of some old stuff. A mixture. I might make a mixture sheet up for sets now. Various kinds of questions. So how about x? Anyone? Sunita. 47. All right, whoever. 47, right? Yeah, 47 by rearranging. So just cut out 2 of the x's here and rearrange this. You should get 47. So that means that 47 people read both. So if x is 47, we put it in there. How many is Nation? Bangkok Post only. What about this one here? How much are these numbers? We got 97 minus 47. That would be 50, wouldn't it? Okay, so we have 50 for Bangkok Post only. So we put 50 for the answer there. How about 72 minus 47? That's here. 25, is it? Right, so you should get 25 here. And this one says either Bangkok Post or the Nation. Now this one I got 75. Now this one, because it says either, so I want one or the other, but not both in this case. Either that or that. So when you see this pattern here, it's going to want either Nation or Bangkok Post, but not both. So that would be 50 plus 25. So the Bangkok Post is 50, Bangkok Post only plus 25 will give you 75 for both, but not both, but one or the other, I mean to say. So this is Bangkok Post only, 50, and this is Nation only, which is 25. So either or. So that's one thing to be aware of here, either or. So I'm excluding the middle number 47. I should write 25 in here. Right, so why don't you do question 3 yourself? I'll give you 10 minutes. It's 10:50 now. So let's go to 11 o'clock. Right, so go to 11 o'clock and do this one. I'll leave a bit there if you're copying. So again, start with your diagram. And we have basketball and football. So let's set it up. You can do this without a Venn diagram, but I think the diagram helps you think about what's going on. All right, so just set up your diagram. We'll go to 11 o'clock for this one. So 10 minutes. If you do finish early, just go on and do some other ones, and I'll go through it in a minute. Let's see. So it looks like we're putting X in the middle again because we don't know how many play both. So put X in here. And that's both sports here, X. Put that one in there. All right, they give you 10 minutes to do that and then see what it's like, okay? And I'll come back in a minute. So 11 o'clock, we'll do the answer. If you do it quickly, go to the next one. Okay, so for question 3, we can have a look. Well, if you want to keep working, and I'll do the answer here anyway. So we got X, and we should call this basketball and football, I guess. Basketball and football. Okay, 62 in the class. 58 play at least one of the sports. Play at least one. 58. So there's 4 that don't play any sports. So you could put 4 outside here. 41 play basketball. So this will be 41 minus X. 37 play football. So 37 minus X. And when you add those up, you should get 58. So your equation should be 41 minus X plus 37 minus X. And that should add up to be 58 because they play at least one of the sports. 58 in here. So cancel out your X's. You should get 20, I think. Is that right? X is 20 because this answer B is 20. Is that correct? 20. The other way you can do it would be 58. Oh, let's do that another time. Let's just move on because we only have 10 minutes left anyway. So basketball, but not football. So basketball, but not football. So this one here, 41 minus X. So that's 41 minus 21, which is 20. So this one down here will be 20. Let's color that in. That's 20. Sorry, 21. The error. 20. There, this number here. That's 21. So X is 20. 41 minus 20 is 21. Okay, that's it. So basketball only. Basketball, but not football, same thing. So 21 here. Neither sport, that was 4. Outside, exactly one of the sports. So that's going to end up being 38. So that would have been 37 minus 20, which is 17 in here. We've got 20 there, 17 there. Exactly one of the sports. So that's either basketball only or football only. So 21 plus 17. which is 38 there. Okay, so that's your answer for that one. For 38 and then 21, that's how you get them. But I think if you can get this diagram correct here, then you should have no problem getting the answers, because all the answers just come from the diagram anyway. So we only got like 10 minutes left. Question 4 is similar. So for your diagram, if you're working on that one, so you draw your diagram, just check how many sets you've got. You got hands-free phone, and you got Apple CarPlay. So you got 2 sets. So let's call that one H, hands-free phone, and Apple CarPlay can be A. And maybe some cars have both. So you make your diagram, make them overlap. So then we've got H, hands-free phone here. Apple CarPlay is here. So let's see, 55 have both. You see this? So this is the case where we know the intersection. 55 had hand-free phone and Apple CarPlay. So 55 goes in the middle here. 64 had hands-free phones. So this is here would be 64 minus 55. So in this case, you'll get 9 in this part. So 9 there, hands-free phone only. 55 have both. What we don't know is how many had Apple CarPlay only. So we write X here. 17 had neither. So that goes outside. Okay. So you'll probably end up finishing this one yourself. So let's just write the equation out. You've got 120 in total. So let's write it out. So 120, we'll be adding all these up here. So 17 plus 9 plus 55 plus X. So I've included the 17 in the question, and I'm using the original 120 here. So that's okay. Then you can calculate X. If you do that, you should get 39 here. So you check this one. That's the answer in the answer key. So you check, you get that. And that's your equation here for that one. So before you get your worksheet on this topic, we might do more on the next period. Okay, we might do some more on this section. So we might stop at this question here anyway. So we've got our Venn diagram that's drawn here. How many had only a hands-free phone? Well, that was 9. How many cars had only Apple CarPlay? So that was X, and X was 39 here. Okay, so is that one all right? Any problems?